Brazil's government says it has cut the murder rate in the state of Rio by 14% in recent months, thanks to security efforts. But what about the other side in this fight? In the first of 4 special reports on the security situation in Brazil, Monica Villamizar travels to one favela for Al Jazeera's Fault Lines program and speaks to Fish, a drug trafficker who tells her about life in the slums.
We're heading towards a favela or slum on the outskirts of Rio de Janeiro. It's thought there are close to 1,000. Most are controlled, at least in part, by drug traffickers or armed paramilitaries.
We have now just been informed that one of the drug traffickers belonging to one of the main gangs that operate here in Rio de Janeiro, in the favelas, may be willing to talk to us. So we're going to see if he meets us or not.
After several more phone calls and negotiations about what we could and couldn't film, he does finally agree to meet us.
Bom dia.
Bom dia. Bom dia.
Monica.
Rafael.
Rafael, or Fish, as he's known, is the so-called manager of a gang called the Pure Third Command. He runs the drug trade in Vila Aliança, a notoriously violent favela on the western outskirts of Rio de Janeiro. He's got his favorite AK slung over his shoulders.
Arma do Bin Laden.
Ah, see?
Arma do Bin Laden.
It's like Bin Laden's gun, he tells us. He and his soldiers are keen to show us their firepower.
To tell them something in particular.
But he's even more keen to give us his analysis of the situation.
Nobody here goes to school. They don't have anything. We live in poor conditions. The only opportunity we have is this. I have a wife, 3 children, a mother. How can I make it without an education? The government only thinks of themselves. The only option that we have is trafficking. We try to help the community and our families, and God knows it all, and He knows that we have no choice.
Rio de Janeiro.
An explosion of joy on the streets followed the announcement that Rio would host the Olympics. It was followed 2 weeks later by an explosion of violence when a police helicopter was shot down by drug traffickers. The government's reaction has been to intensify its crackdown on the city slums. They're calling it pacification.
It's an obligation for us to protect the Brazilian people, protect the Constitution of Brazil, and protect human life. But how can we protect the life of someone who is carrying an assault rifle in his hand? The moment that person holds the gun in their hand, he loses his rights.
There will be more police, killing more people. They're taking advantage of the Olympics to flood this area with police. They're already pushing people out of the favelas. So we don't have an option but to fight them. People are trying to build a community here, so we have to meet the police with violence. We really don't have any other option.
Are you scared to die?
Claro.
Have you seen a lot of your friends die?
Já.
How do you see yourself in 5 years, for example?
If I live, I don't know if I'll live that long.
Rafael may not be alive when the games come to Rio de Janeiro, but he is prepared to fight to defend his corner of this future Olympic city. Monica Villamizar, Al Jazeera, Rio de Janeiro.
Well, for more on the security situation in Brazil, we're joined now by Paulo Sotero. He's the director of the Brazil Institute at the Washington-based Woodrow Wilson Center. Mr. Sotero, when you watch that story, you see these young men walking around with Kalashnikovs, helicopters being shot down. It really looks like open warfare in Rio. Is this crackdown the only way that the government is trying to deal with the problems of the favelas?
It's part of the ways, one of the solutions, and what's new about this is what they are calling pacifying police. Actually, the police, newly trained police officers, come into certain areas and remove the drug trafficker. The drug traffickers leave because the police is there to stay, to work with the community, and it has started in November last year, and it has shown some positive results. City of God, featuring that famous movie, violence there seems to be down by more than 80%. There is
well, we've got some new figures from the public authorities that say that homicides are down, the murder rate fell 14%. There's some other figures there. What does this tell us? Is this the start of a positive positive trend?
It is a start of a positive trend from a government that feels that it's under pressure from the population and also international attention generated by the Olympics. This is a long-term process. Obviously, police violence remains a problem. What you have to do is to do good policing, police that protects the people instead of threatening to the people.
And we have about 1,000 people killed by police in Rio and in Sao Paulo every year.
Precisely. This is the problem of abuse of police force, but the new government of Rio, under Sergio Cabral, seems to be trying a more consistent approach and to gain sort of hearts and minds in the population. 6 communities have present good news already.
All right, Paulo Sotero, thank you very much. We appreciate your insights. And that is a show that you can watch. You can watch more about this